The government considering relaxing the list of eligible universities under the Top Talent Pass scheme. The hospital authority to follow up on reports of public hospital drugs being resold on an online shopping platform. And Ukraine says its forces have taken control of 1,000 square kilometers of Russian territory. Hello and welcome to TVB News. In order to attract more talent to Hong Kong to boost the SAR's economic development, the government is considering relaxing and expanding the list of eligible universities under the Top Talent Pass scheme. A lawmaker said the city should focus on attracting mainland talent from specialized schools. Mimo Singai reports.
Under the current Top Talent Pass scheme, applicants must come from the 185 universities on the list of eligible institutions for the program. However, Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chen said the government may relax the requirement by allowing graduates of outstanding faculties at some universities to apply. For instance, the South China University of Technology in Guangzhou is regarded as one of the top universities on the mainland, but the institution is not on the list for the Top Talent Pass scheme. Chen Zhidong, Deputy Chairman of the Alumni Association of the South China University of Technology, said the institution is very strong in its new energy technology-related courses. He said Hong Kong's innovation and technology field can benefit from it if graduates of that faculty can apply for the Top Talent Pass scheme. He added many students in that university are from Guangdong province, which enables them to get used to the city more easily. Lawmaker Shang Hailong, who is also the founding chairman of the city's Top Talent Services Association, said the government could also consider applicants who graduated from the mainland's specialized schools. While the ranking of these institutions may not be top-notch, the students often receive high marks in Gaokao, China's undergraduate admission exam. Williams 9, TVB News.
An online shopping platform is suspected of selling medicine provided by the city's public hospitals. The hospital authority expressed its concern about this and stressed it is following up on the matter. This, as a pharmacist emphasized medicines that are not stored properly could become contaminated by bacteria. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Online posts in recent days indicated that medicines provided by Hong Kong's public hospitals are available for sale via an online shopping platform. Some of the drugs also came with labels displaying the names of patients, which originated from the Hong Kong Buddhist Hospital. HKTV Mall, the online shopping platform involved in the incident, said it came to their attention last year that public hospital drugs were being sold on their platform. The company noted some customers reported issues with their medication orders on July 9, 2023, after receiving the medicines on May 29 this year. HKTV Mall contacted the seller afterwards, but could not retrieve relevant CCTV footage or other information because over a month had passed since the incident. The shopping platform said the online store in question is no longer available on its website, and it offered refunds to affected customers. This as the hospital authority voiced its concern about the incident and reminded residents that it is illegal to sell such medicines or transfer them to other people for personal use. The hospital authority stressed there will be legal consequences for those engaged in such activity. A pharmacist said while the selling of such medicines outside of public hospitals is not new, it marks the first occasion of the drugs being sold on an online shopping platform.
About the selling, it happens all the time over past 20 years, but this is the first time the medicine can be sold from a big online shopping mall. This is quite interesting and quite a shock to me. Firstly, it is illegal to sell the medicine over the web because the seller must be registered by the Department of Health, and also the medicine should be processed or selling through the pharmacies under the pharmacy supervision.
So stressed residents who consume such medicine may be at risk of bacterial contamination.
The risk is because the medicine, we don't know they are keeping in a good condition. And the quality of the medicine may not really good. So after ingest by the people, it may be harmful.
Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The very hot weather warning is in effect. The observatory says sweltering heat and occasional showers continue to affect the Guangdong coastline owing to the effects of a southwest airflow. Weather authorities forecast a trough of low pressure will bring about thunderstorms later this week. Meanwhile, Tropical Depression Ampil, currently located in the south of Japan, has been upgraded to a tropical storm. It is expected to strengthen further in the next 2 to 3 days and edge closer towards eastern Honshu. Japan earlier issued a megaquake advisory for several of its regions after the country suffered from a strong tremor last week. Some Hong Kongers residing in Japan said there is a shortage of disaster emergency kits. The Red Cross reminded people planning to travel to Japan to prepare such kits on their own. It also offered some advice on what to do in the event of an earthquake. Residents are advised to hide beneath a sturdy piece of furniture if they are indoors during an earthquake. They should also stay away from glass or other items that could easily fall. If they're outdoors, they should find open areas and stay away from buildings, slopes, and power lines. Meanwhile, the Red Cross said people should flee to elevated places if they encounter a tsunami. In other news, Ukraine's top military commander said Monday his forces have taken control of 1,000 square kilometers of land in Russia's Kursk region neighboring Ukraine. This as Russia launched 38 attack drones and 2 Iskander-M ballistic missiles at Ukraine Monday night. Meanwhile, the International Atomic Energy Agency said its representatives had inspected a damaged cooling tower at the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine, but could not determine the cause of a fire there over the weekend. Tracy Furness has more.
Ukraine's top military officials on Monday briefed President Volodymyr Zelensky directly for the first time on the ongoing operation in Russia's Kursk region. Currently, we control about 1,000 square kilometers of the territory of the Russian Federation. The troops are fulfilling their assigned tasks. Battles are actually taking place along the entire front. The situation is under our control, said the commander-in-chief of Ukraine's armed forces via video link. In his nightly address to the nation, Zelensky said the incursion into Russia's Kursk region is a means of reducing shelling attacks on the border areas. Meanwhile, Russia State TV aired footage of civilians being evacuated from the Russian border region of Belgorod and said Ukraine's incursion has caused more than 100,000 civilians to flee the border region. In Kursk, humanitarian aid was distributed to tens of thousands who were forced to leave their homes. Russian President Vladimir Putin took to the airwaves Monday saying the incursion into Kursk is an attempt by Kyiv to stop Russia's offensive in eastern Ukraine's Donbas region and gain leverage in future peace talks. This as the Biden administration in the US warned Iran of a swift and severe response if it ships ballistic missiles to Russia to aid its invasion of Ukraine.
We are deeply concerned by reports that Iran is planning to deliver hundreds of ballistic missiles to Russia, and we continue to communicate with our European partners and allies regarding potential measures we may take.
Meanwhile, the head of Russia's state nuclear energy corporation Rosatom, Alexei Likashev, said the cooling tower and water cooling system of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant had been seriously damaged by a Ukrainian drone attack. Both Russia and Ukraine blame each other for the fire that broke out at the plant over the weekend. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Iran is weighing up an attack on Israel after describing calls of restraint by Germany, France, and Britain as lacking logic and contradicting international law. The U.S. says it expects military action by Iran or its proxies against Israel following the killings of senior Hamas and Hezbollah officials last month. David Garrett reports.
The Israeli military says it successfully intercepted unmanned aerial vehicles that crossed from Lebanon. More attacks are expected. The US is quickly moving extra military capability to the Middle East to defend Israel. It includes a submarine equipped with guided missiles and a massive aircraft carrier strike group that was in the Asia Pacific. US intelligence points to an imminent attack by Iran.
We're continuing to watch it very, very closely, and it is difficult to ascertain at this particular time if there is an attack by Iran and or its proxies, what that could look like. But we have to be prepared.
The US, along with other countries, has advised its citizens to leave Lebanon. Residents heeding warnings are trying to find flights out. Beirut seems almost empty. Civilians fear a war between Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah after the assassination of Hezbollah commander Fuad Shukar 2 weeks ago. Lebanon admits its struggling health system will be stretched to the limit by a wider conflict. The caretaker government is preparing for the worst scenario with a limited budget and dwindling supplies.
Especially as we see what Israel is doing in Gaza, the way that it is not respecting international humanitarian law, the way it has been directly targeting sometimes healthcare facilities, healthcare personnel, that means that we need to be even more prepared than before.
In Gaza, more people are following the evacuation order issued by Israel to leave Khan Yunis. Civilians were told to go as Israel's military operations continue in the southern Gaza town. Another round of peace negotiations are scheduled for Thursday. The US says if Hamas cares about Palestinians, they will get the deal done, release hostages and end the war. Some hardline Israelis are already making post-war plans. Right-wing activists overlooked Gaza as they celebrated Tisha B'Av, a holiday which marks the destruction of the biblical Jewish temples. They want the return of the Jewish settlements in Gaza that were evacuated during Israel's 2005 disengagement.
Hamas will be killed. People who want to live normally, we will enable them to go to other countries. We know that in all wars, unfortunately, people suffer and they are refugees. Now, we haven't started this war and we don't have to apologize for anything.
As night fell, these Israelis in the south of their country look to the future, but with the shadow of an attack on Israel from the north also occupying their thoughts. David Garrett, TVB News.
Still ahead, a massive wildfire raging in the northern suburbs of the Greek capital. A new Mars study suggests liquid water far below the surface of the red planet. And a local survey finds many underprivileged residents have starved because of financial difficulties. Welcome back. At least one person died and dozens were injured in the massive wildfire that is raging in the northern suburbs of the Greek capital, Athens. Thousands of residents have been forced to evacuate their homes, and Greek authorities have appealed for international help. Danny Joe has more.
It was an unprecedented scene in the Greek capital as it braced for the worst fire this year after months of high temperatures. Mountains and residential areas were engulfed by thick grey smoke from a spate of fast-spreading wildfires fanned by gale-force winds. One of the fires erupted Sunday afternoon, about 35 kilometers northeast of Athens. It gutted major infrastructure and businesses. By Monday evening, it inched closer to Athens and has so far scorched about 100,000 acres of land. Power cuts and traffic disruptions were reported across the city. A woman was found dead in a burnt building in suburban Vrilicia. At least 35 were injured in the blaze, mostly due to smoke inhalation. Thousands of residents in leafy suburbs such as Nea and Palai Penteli have been ordered to evacuate. Police officers assisted in moving over 250 people away from the path of the flames. The Olympic Stadium and other sports facilities were opened to house the evacuees, and 3 major hospitals have been on standby. More than 670 firefighters and 183 fire engines, reinforced by water-bombing aircraft, battled the fire overnight. Although the authorities said the wildfire no longer had any active advancing fronts, there are still many hot spots to be extinguished. The country will remain vigilant in the coming days as the winds may pick up again. After the Greek government's call for international support, the European Union Civil Protection Mechanism was activated and units from Romania and the Czech Republic were deployed on Monday evening. Further help is also expected to arrive from France, Spain, Italy and Turkey. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
A study using data from NASA's Mars InSight lander shows evidence of liquid water far below the surface of the red planet. The lander monitored quakes on Mars, and scientists have been scouring data and conclude that liquid water is likely to be present about 15 kilometers below the surface. Mars is thought to have lost its surface water over billions of years as its atmosphere thinned and became the dry, dusty world known today. Scientists theorize that much of the ancient water escaped out into space or remained buried below. It would take drilling to confirm the existence of water and seek out any potential signs of microbial life. In the UK, a 32-year-old man has been charged with attempted murder in connection with Monday's stabbing of an 11-year-old girl in London's Leicester Square. The attack occurred shortly before noon outside a tea shop. The 11-year-old girl was seriously injured in the stabbing, but the injuries were not life-threatening. It was initially believed the girl's mother was also hurt, but it was later confirmed that blood from her daughter's injuries had been mistaken for injuries of her own. Ian Pintaru was charged with the stabbing and with the possession of a bladed article, the Met Police said in a statement. Police also said they don't believe he knew the victims. A study by a nonprofit organization found that 44% of underprivileged residents have starved because of financial reasons. It also found that when it comes to buying food, more of these people considered the cost over the nutritional value. The organization also said Hong Kong has a serious food waste issue, which cannot be resolved in the short term. Mimo Singhai reports.
In July, the NGO Food Grace collected 509 questionnaires filled out by underprivileged residents in Kwai Tsing and Sham Shui Po. The results show that a significant percentage of respondents did not eat nutritious food because of financial difficulties. 44% of them said they had gone hungry to save money, while 32.8% said they ate less in the last 6 months because of financial hardship. 46.2% said they could not obtain enough nutrients from their meals. 77% said they will consider the price when shopping for food. About 60% will take the nutritional values of food items as factors for consideration. And 60% of them were not familiar with the concept of food security, covering the aspects of availability, access, utilization, and stability. The organization said Hong Kong produces roughly 34 million tons of food waste annually.
Many people is still dumping their food, which most of some food is still edible and is in a very good condition, which is not very good for the environmental development. And as we all know, the solid waste charging scheme is so far is cancelled. As an NGO, we expect that the food waste issue cannot be solved in a short and middle term.
He said authorities can support NGOs to collect excess food and redistribute them to needy individuals. The NGO said the government should educate residents on the relationship between climate change and food security, reminding people to cherish their food and not turn into a big waster. Mims 9, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.